from there we'll go to the Visitation, where Mary walked to visit her relative. Now you think that Mary just jumped in a taxi and drove across Nazareth to visit Elizabeth. You're going to find out that she walked 100 miles. So we arrive here at the Church of the Memorial of St. Peter. This is where St. Peter lived for Mass. And we're now in the Church of Capernaum and having Sunday Mass. And this is where Peter and Jesus lived. That right down there is where they lived for 3 years, Jesus. And he spoke the words, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood," in the synagogue in Capernaum. And that right there is that synagogue where he said those words.
We will do everything that the Lord has told us.
With strong faith and sincere charity, might at the end of our journey receive the reward, the resurrection, and eternal life, one God forever and ever. Amen. Take this, all of you, and eat of it, for this is my body, which will be given out for you. Body Christ.
Amen.
Body Christ.
I just love giving my talk defending the Eucharist at the very place where Jesus said, "Eat my flesh and drink my blood." I explained to people how I changed from Baptist to Catholic. On the other side of the scale, it is the body and blood of Christ, which all Christians believe for the first 1,500 years, universally, without any objections, that it is the body and blood of Christ, and I make fun of it and call it a cookie Christ, then I'm in big trouble on the day of judgment for mocking and making fun of God's great gift that he gave to his people. So I have to choose between these two, and I have to choose wisely because my eternal soul depends upon it. So we had to study this one carefully to make sure we were right in what we were doing. Now, I don't want to go through the Old Testament. I'm just going to hit the Gospels. The first three I want to mention is Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's called the institution of the Eucharist. That's why we're saving the mystery of the Rosary for the upper room, because that's where it was instituted. Here it was just promised. The other three tell you about the institution. Take the bread, take the cup. It was a Passover meal. Here, he's giving you the theology. He's giving you the basis for what's going to happen in the upper room. That's why outside it says on this door as you come in, out in the gate, the Church of the Promise of the Eucharist.
In the Sea of Galilee. Our father was a fisherman, so naturally we spent all our time in the water.
We are watching a movie about the finding of the ancient boat. Everybody's seated here watching the 10-minute video, and this is the boat. 2,000-year-old boat that was found in the mud and preserved, and now everyone can see it here.
And then we fan out like a star. Hang on to the legs of the guys behind you. Oh, well, I want to sit on the edge.
No. But I found this little cove where the fishermen were all coming in at 5 in the morning, and I started asking questions. Anybody speak English? One guy says, "I do," real thick Hebrew accent. And his name was Shimi Cohen, and his partner was named Udi. Anyway, he says, you ask too many questions. I have work to do. If you want to know all of these things, then you come fishing with us tonight. Guess what I did? He says, be here at 6 o'clock. I said, okay. I went home and I took a little nap and I got ready, and I was back at 6 o'clock, and I helped them load the nets into the boats and get everything ready. And we took off across the Sea of Galilee, and I went fishing all night with those guys.
About the Jordan River being formed by 3 sources, remember? And we saw the Haspani, we saw the Banias. We didn't see the middle source, which is the dam. But if you look at my 3 fingers, they merge together and they make my arm, and that's the Jordan River.
Hand in the hand of the man who steals the water. Put your hand in the hand of the man who calms the sea. Take a look at yourself and you can look at others differently. By putting your hand in the hand. One more time now.
Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine.
Well, we've just arrived at the Tangerine restaurant. We're all getting off our bus here. We're going in to have St. Peter's fish. Very nice lunch. And of course, like usual, we're the first ones here. Tables are already set for us. Look at that, all the salads are already out and the pita bread.
Whole fish.
In the
Whole fish here, whole fish. Somebody whole fish. Whole.
Oh, the fish are already coming. Look at that.
Yeah, they sure are.
Whole St. Peter's fish. We like getting here first and getting the food fresh.
I mean, that's... it's just, I don't know if I should laugh or cry sometimes. But
Sounds
anyway.
like the United States.
These are the Carmel mountain ranges, and right up there is the place where Elijah called down fire from heaven and defeated the prophets of Baal.
Months later, one's pregnant.
We always take a
2
nice
months
stop at a
later,
rest
the
area
second
to
one's
get
pregnant.
something to
Wow.
drink or
And so
sandwiches or ice
one
cream
just
and
turned
use the
one.
restrooms. And then we're heading on
And
our
one
way
is
to
10
the
months.
Visitation. Man walked up to my dad and said, Charlie, I've been meaning to tell you this for a long time, but you need Jesus Christ in your life. What an answer to prayer of my dad. But let me ask you this question. Do you think the man that approached my father and told him he needed Jesus Christ, do you think that he was a Catholic?
No,
No? Why not?
Catholics don't do that kind of thing.
Isn't it a sad commentary, though? I have never, ever had anybody say, yes, of course, because it's our Bible, it's our gospel. We're the ones that took the gospel around the world. It was Catholics that evangelized the continents. Every time I say, do you think it was a Catholic that talked to my dad about Jesus? Every single time people say no. But I think that's a sad commentary, and I'm doing everything I can to change that so that we are the ones who are known as the evangelizers. Anyway, you're correct. That man was a Baptist. And I'm glad that Baptist man came and talked to my dad, because when he did, my dad also accepted Christ as his Savior like my mom. And they had a whole new life that they started at that point. That's good. In Ein Karem, the Visitation. Look at all these wonderful folks coming down, a trail of people. We're heading to the restrooms on our way up to the Church of Visitation. When Mary arrived, she came to this well. I think it's still a functioning well. And we have Zechariah offering his services in the temple. And we have Mary arriving with Elizabeth and meeting her here. I don't think she looked like that after 100 miles walking, but there's the the Visitation. And here is the slaughter of the innocents, of which John was protected behind that rock. And that rock happens to be right there, the place where John was hidden behind that rock.
Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Mary came up into the hill country of Judea, and the baby John leapt in her womb, and Elizabeth said, "Who am I that the mother of my Lord should come to me?" And she stayed here for 3 months, and the whole house was blessed. How many of you immediately think of 2 Samuel chapter 6 of the Old Testament? We got one. No, two. Only two. 3. 4. I can't wait till the day where all Catholics raise their hand and say, of course, beat me to it, and say that's 2 Samuel chapter 6. Why do I say that? I'm going to leave you in suspense for a moment and go back to another one. When Mary heard the words, the Holy One of God will overshadow you, and that which is in you will be the holy thing of God. That word, it will overshadow you. How many of you immediately think of Exodus chapter 40 in the Old Testament? We've got a couple. Very good. I love it. Exodus chapter 40. So we've just unloaded the bus, and people are getting their luggage, and we come into this beautiful Notre Dame. Here's the lobby. They have welcome drinks for us, and everybody's getting their drinks and getting ready to go up to the rooms. With an hour and a half to settle in, and then we all went to dinner at the cafeteria, and then we got to bed for a good night's sleep.